100 for a 100th podcast. The podcast wherein we take 100 films that I think every new movie watcher should watch for the first time. I rank them from 100 to 1 for your pleasure. And I accompany each one of them with a 100-word review, hence the title of this show, 100 for 100. And I put out one podcast a day, every day, for the first 100 days of 2020. And we are in March right now. We are in March, beginning of March. Yesterday, we talked about number 32 on our list, The French Connection, Gene Hackman, the gritty, hard-boiled cop movie. Check that out if you haven't. Today, we shift gears to science fiction. And number 31 on our list, Blade Runner 2049. 2017, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Make sure you just make sure you watch this movie, please. Let's get into the 100-word review of Blade Runner 2049. A more than worthy successor to the original, Blade Runner 2049 honors the spirit of its predecessor and continues to build upon the story that Ridley Scott's film cemented. Furthering the ideas of the hazy nature between humans and replicants, the film centers on Ryan Gosling as K, a replicant who hunts older model replicants. Motifs of identity and choice play a major role as K struggles to find his place in society. A visual masterpiece. Thanks largely in part to cinematographer Roger Deakins, the film is brilliant in its uses of shadows and neons to create the film noir affectation. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and tip my hand here. Blade Runner is not on my list. It's not. Because I don't think it's all that great a movie. I know that is hearsay. That is cause for crucifixion in the film community, especially on film Twitter, where they love Blade Runner. The shit is slow and boring to me. That's just a god's awful truth. It's slow and it's boring. I enjoy Harrison Ford's performance in it. I enjoyed Rutger Hauer's performance. I even enjoy the Asian guy who's named James Hong. I even enjoy his performance. I just do eyes. But other than that, man, I just don't see what the hubbub is about. And for all you people saying, well, you just don't understand what Blade Runner is. I know, I understand it's not just a shoot-'em-up action movie. I understand it is very much an introspective movie. I understand what it is trying to do. I just don't think it does it well. However, Blade Runner 2049 was announced, and I was like, more of this shit again. And they're like, it's going to be Denis Villeneuve. And I was like, well, now you have my attention. And boy, does he knock this shit all the way out the park. He continues those themes laid down in Blade Runner, those themes of identity, because that is kind of an underlying theme throughout the first Blade Runner, right? Is Deckard a human or is Deckard a replicant? Apparently, the motherfucker is a human because he's in this movie and he's old as shit. He ages. Whereas replicants, the Nexus models, have very short shelf lives. Obviously, old-ass Harrison Ford would have been far beyond his shelf life. So it's kind of safe to say that Deckard is a human. Rachel, however, was not. I didn't know what they were going to do with this movie. I made the joke many times on Twitter before the film came out. What are they going to do? Are replicants having kids now? And that is exactly what this movie is about. It is about legacies, trying to cement legacies, passing down legacies. There's also an underlying current in this film, especially in Neander Wallace, our film's antagonist played by Jared Leto, trying to cement, I should say, his own legacy and the some of the terrible acts he is doing in order to accomplish that goal. The acting in this movie is a lot of times muted, understated, and brilliant, especially from Ryan Gosling, whose emotions are just underneath the surface there, because he is a replicant. K is a replicant, so they aren't quite programmed with emotions, or maybe they are. But his are just right there on the surface. But you can still see things like longing, right? And his joy model, played by Anna de Armas, he longs for that companionship and that compassion. You see that some of that emotion bubble a bit more to the surface when he kind of finds out what's going on. Harrison Ford almost looks like he's acting in this movie. What little screen time he's on there for, he does an amazing job, as does definitely all credit should be given to Robin Wright, who I think does not have enough screen time in this movie. I think Robin Wright knocks her little role out of the park as Ryan Gosling's boss. And someone else I wanted to talk about. Sylvia Hoeks as Love. She is fucking insane in this film. She's a mad woman in this. That's where all of your emotion comes from, is this one character. Everybody else, Robin Wright, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas, Ryan Gosling, Jared Leto, they all downplay it with the exception of Sylvia Hoeks. She is all over the map, just yelling and screaming. And also Mackenzie Davis puts in a good role. Dave Bautista. That's how I know Denis Villeneuve is a great director. He got a wonderful, subtle performance out of such a big person in Dave Bautista. And there's also a great fight scene there. I guess him and Ryan Gosling with no music underneath it, which makes it all the more fascinating. This movie is I think it is the most beautiful movie shot of all time. Hands down, point blank, simple. Blade Runner is the most beautiful movie of all time. 2049. Let me make sure I state that. If you have not seen Blade Runner 2049, it's number 31 on our list. Number 2, 3 on my personal top favorite movies of all time. But make sure you check out 31 on the list, Blade Runner 2049.